A sense of community means connections to people, but also to places and times. In Roxbury, those connections are assuming new life thanks to a mural and walking tour that celebrate a turning point in the lives of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. They would go on to change the world, but their life together began in Roxbury. To tell us about the project are the developer of the building where the mural is located, the president of Urbanica Inc., Kamran Zahedi, and one of the organizers and founder of the Afrocentric Black Market, Kai Grant. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start with Kai Grant because you grew up with the history of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King around you, even if you weren't aware of it all the time. How important is it to really put this on the map for people?
I think that the importance is just of great magnitude, especially in light of everything that is happening today with a re-energized civil rights movement. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to create a connection with this community, which has been a clearinghouse of many different Black thought leaders of the 19th and 20th century, all the way to the 21st century. And so this is really going to highlight, I think, the location where the Melnia Cast residence sits, thanks to Urbanica and Cameron and your team. But this is really going to highlight a moment where history is now again at the center of a very important neighborhood in Boston, namely Roxbury.
Cameron, the building that you developed here, this is on the site of 12th Baptist Church, its previous site, that is. How much did that matter in your plans for how you present this building?
Unfortunately, at the time when we started to do the design or even think about this project, we did not have the information that this was the site of the old Baptist Church. I found that last March when I received an email from Clement King regarding, this site was actually the second site for the 12th Baptist Church. So I should say, unfortunately, we didn't know at the time, like 10 years ago when we started this process. However, after we found out, it's such an honor. First of all, we moved our office here, so it's such an honor to work someplace that was a place that Dr. King and Coretta used to actually come to church, and he was part of the 12th Baptist. So after that, we tried to see what we can do to actually bring up, the history of the 12th Baptist Church and Dr. King. So I should say after March 14, that I found that, then we got in touch with Echo Homes, and as you can see, then we purchased paintings from her and collage, and then, we commissioned through the Black Market, Rob Gibbs to do the mural on the site. And hopefully that would just be a start of different things that we can do in future.
Kai Grant, 12th Baptist Church, King made it famous because it was the place where he had his first active ministry. But this was a real center of leadership in Roxbury, not just religious leadership, also political and cultural leadership. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Willie Broderick is one of the young ministers that's there today, who actually has the spirit of King on him, I would say. It's almost a hotbed for spiritual, political, and social leaders inside of this community to cut their teeth and go and, I think, change the world. Reverend Haynes, Dr. Haynes, who passed away this past 2000 and I believe, was it the end of last year or the beginning of this year?
It might have been last summer going into fall, maybe?
Right, I feel like it was 2019 as well. You think about his circle that he grew up with right here in Roxbury, Jeep Jones, Mr. Farrakhan, Louis Farrakhan. these were very close friends to Dr. Haynes and had opportunity to grow as young leaders and as young activists and as young community servants, and lay down, I think, historical roots for even today's activists to be able to have a pipeline and a platform for their work. So it's critical that these institutions be highlighted and celebrated, and I think to also add that we need a futuristic kind of vision when it comes down to community spaces that were transformative, because this was the first African meeting house. And so you're talking about a place where folks came in order to discuss and implement plans around freedom. And so the first iteration was in Beacon Hill. The second iteration is on the site at corner of Mia and Shaman, where Melchniakat's residence lies. And the third iteration is on Warren Street. And so very important to the past, the present, and the future.
Kamran, when you developed this building, you weren't just putting up a structure. You were, I think, trying to bring a space to life. How does the mural and the related tour do that?
Basically, all the time, we had in mind that this project will be kind of a catalyst for revitalization of this corner. And that corner, for bringing the art, basically you start to connect to the community. For past 3-4 days that Rob been working there, I've been watching him, that all the cars stops, people come. So it's a great, feeling that this is the vision that we had to bring this place for a meeting, the community together. Finally, it's happening by the mural, but not by the hotel that everybody was focusing on. It seems the small, even the mural on the wall is really doing part of this whole vision to make, to activate the corner, to activate the street. And I mean, that's what I think this mural is doing right now. It's basically activating that corner and giving, kind of a hope, giving kind of positive and love, to this community. And I think that's what we wanted. Did we know that mural is going to do that, or the hotel? It seems the mural is not doing part of it, and hopefully in the time, we can do other part, in this project that can bring the vision we had at the beginning, to activate the street and activate the corner and bring kind of activities and hope and positive mood, to this neighborhood. Because this area also is very important, because it's very the south end, turns to the Roxbury. So it's a change, in lots of demographic, and it's very important this area plays a right and positive role for this community.
Yeah. Kai, what about this notion of activating space? You're trying to do that near Nubian Square with the Black Market. How do you see more of this activation helping the economic needs of the community?
Well, first of all, the conversations that are happening would not happen without these type of mural projects and these types of artist and maker conversations that we have, I guess, been intentional about since 2017. I mean, our mission is to reignite the creative economy of Roxbury, and we identify many different cultural assets in doing such. I think what's important is to understand it's a holistic. You have the district of Nubian Square being set inside of a cultural district, which is that is designated by the state of Massachusetts. So as a board member on the cultural district, I am putting pieces together, and as a visionary and an entrepreneur, and now art consultant, we are able to these ideas and come up with concepts like the Roxbury love story, based on, the filmmaker Clinton King's history that he shared with the community and partner with important stakeholders like Kamran and Urbanica who need content to be able to not only strike up a conversation, but to literally take this vision from point A to point Z and implement it and transform, you know, and then actually transform the community with this important conversation.
Kamran, one example of the cultural transformation is that work of art behind you. It depicts Dr. King and some of the other figures involved in this story. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
As far as what you said, as far as the work or?
Yes, the work by Ekwa Holmes that's behind you on the wall, and where that's going to be in the future.
I think the work is going to be part of, you know, collection of these residences in the lobby. However, next to the lobby, we are also creating a gallery that we're going to work, you know, with the community artists and to show their work, and again, you know, try to activate the street, try to activate the space. And I think this work pretty much, you know, that is behind me, it says, you know, where this place, you know, brings up the memory of the Dr. King back, and it brings the questions in the mind of, you know, the residents or the visitors, and that's, I mean, the whole purpose is just, you know, keep, you know, his legacy, you know, keep going, and he's going to stay here at the lobby.
Right. And finally, Kai, I know there's not going to be a public ceremony, but can we at least tell viewers when everything is going to be ready for viewing for people who are out walking the neighborhood and maybe going on the tour?
Sure. So we will be ready for all of this viewing and folks to be able to admire and share thoughts and perspective by the end of September. And so we're excited to be able to produce this project. This is Rob Gibbs' perhaps final project of the season. And we are proud to be able to unveil this to the community right before the beginning of October. So it's exciting. And to speak about Ekwa's photo, that is John Lewis. That is the Edmund Pettus Bridge. In John Lewis and Dr. King when they were walking across that bridge. And I think that, you know, this is on site all the time, but typically just for the residents of Melnia Cast residents. But it's important to notate that that history just connects us with all of these great leaders that have come through 12th Baptist Church at one point or another.
Well, thank you both very much for bringing that to light for us.
Thank you.
Kai Grant and Kamran Zahedi, thank you very much.
Thank you.